Right, we are good.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Cagnetta, and this is the meeting of the South Kingstown, Rhode Island Zoning Board of Review. This is a continuation of the meeting of February 17th. Members present tonight are Thomas Daniels, our Vice Chairman, William Mark, Bill Rosen, and Casey Charkowick. Also present is Jamie Gorman, our South Kingstown Interim Building Zoning Building Official, Amy Goins, our South Kingstown Special Legal Counsel, and Jessica Spence, our Administrative Support Associate. This board is made up of 7 people, and 5 of them are regular voting board members. 5 members are required to be present to vote. And in this case, we only have 5 of us here. So this is all we got. Tonight, the voting members are myself, Mr. Daniels, Mr. Mark, Mr. Rosen, and Mr. Charkowick. Applicants are here either for a variance, dimensional, or use, or to seek a special use permit. The board is a quasi-judicial body created by the South Kingstown Ordinance pursuant to state statutes. We don't follow strict rules of evidence, and we operate in what we believe to be in a fair and equitable manner. We try to let everyone speak unless they get carried away or it is determined not to be relevant or redundant, meaning that someone has mentioned it before. So in the interest of time, try to please be on point and be brief. But we do our best not to argue and keep things civil. And we have the last petition heard by 10 o'clock. When your petition is called, please come forward. Okay, Jessica's going to let you know how you make yourself known. And once you are on audio, you have to state your name clearly and then spell it for the record. I'll remind you to do so. Speak clearly so we can hear you. And then you'll be asked to take the oath to tell the truth. And you can present your petition along with any witnesses to testify in support. The board will then ask you or your witnesses questions after the petitioner has presented their testimony. Anyone else with questions about the application or wanting to support or oppose the petition will then be asked. They will identify themselves, be sworn in, and present their testimony, which may be followed up by questions of the board. Please do not direct questions to the petitioner or any other witnesses. Ask the board, and then we'll follow that up and ask the petitioner. The board will allow the petitioner to answer questions raised by the audience and or respond to comments after the comment period. After hearing all the testimony and before a vote is taken, board members may be asked to openly discuss the evidence presented. And so you're aware, variances or special use permits require 4 of the 5 voting members to vote in favor of the petition for the granting of the requested relief. Board members will ask a lot of questions, and there's a good reason. We cannot just grant anything we choose. There are rules that we have to follow per the South Kingstown Ordinance. You must give testimony to support either facts to allow your request to be approved, which is important for us to allow the request to be approved. Tonight we have dimensional variances and special use permits on the agenda. The variances, you must offer evidence to the board setting forth the following: that your hardship is due to unique characteristics of the subject land or the structure and is not due to the general characteristics of the surrounding area. That the hardship is not the result of any prior action on your part. The granting of the variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area. The relief requested is the least relief necessary. And you must also show that the hardship that will be suffered if the variance is not granted will amount to more than a mere inconvenience. For a special use permit, you must present the following: that the special use permit that you requested is specifically authorized by the zoning ordinance. Somewhere in the zoning ordinance, this has to be authorized. If we do not have the power to grant it. Special use permit requested meets all the criteria set forth in the zoning ordinance authorizing such special use, and that granting of the special use will not alter the general characteristic of the surrounding area or impair the purpose or the intent of the zoning ordinance. Tonight, we have the three left, right, Jessica? Okay. And who do we have first? Is it the Beal
Yes, it
petition?
is.
Okay. And why don't I read it in? And Jessica, if you don't mind reading the documents, just because I haven't pulled it up yet, but so this is the petition of Richard and Lucille Beal of 141 Alder Road, South Kingstown, Rhode Island.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
did you want Jessica to tell people how to get into the meeting?
I could, but there's no one in attendance right now. We have just the applicants here.
Oh, okay.
I got
Okay.
lucky.
So I don't know if there's, if I really need to, and if I see someone pop in, we can always give instruction at that point.
Okay,
I was going to do it after that we read it in, but
okay,
yes,
fine.
thank you. You saved me the step. So this is a petition of Richard and Lucille Beal of 141 Alder Road, South Kingstown, Rhode Island, 02879, for a dimensional variance under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is proposing to construct a 6-foot by 16-foot portico in the front of the dwelling. The portico will be located 10.4 feet from the right side property line. The required yard setback is 15 feet. Relief of 4.6 feet is requested. The lot size is 10,000 square feet. Dimensional variance is required for the zoning ordinance section 207, non-conforming lots of record building setback requirements, and 907 standards of relief. Owner of the property is Richard and Lucille Beal for premises located at 141 Alder Road, South Kingstown, Rhode Island. Assessors map 83-2, lot 259, and is zoned R30. And who is here tonight for this?
Lucille Beal. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Excellent. Could you please spell your name?
First name Lucille, Lucille. Beal, B as in boy, IELE.
And do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. And are you going to have anyone else talk on your behalf or just yourself?
I do, actually. I have my nephew here.
Okay.
He's familiar with these things because he is a civil engineer who's licensed in other states. He used to be licensed in Rhode Island,
Okay.
but he's just here for support because this is sort of foreign to me. His name is Steve Cleason. He's right here.
Yeah,
I see.
Steve Clusen, and it's CLEASON, the last
And
name.
Steve with a V or a P?
Yes,
Okay.
a V.
And you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. Okay. So, Lucille, why don't you tell us what you want to do, or whoever?
Yeah, I can run through. Basically, they're looking to make a significant upgrade to the house. They want to make this their primary residence. In doing so, they wanted to add the portico to the front. The one obstacle they ran into with the architect, and they worked diligently, was how they were going to save the big bay or the big picture window in the front. That was something that when they bought the home, they really enjoyed that light and all that was, came through that window and the view and everything. So they tried to do the best they could to move it over. As you can see, it's an existing non-conforming at 8 feet. So they moved it over to 10.4, which is about all they could do without actually having to remove the window and lose that view within their living room. All of that is available within the documents that were provided to you. You can see the elevation of the front of the house and how that vertical edge is rated basically very close to the edge of that window. So there really isn't much that they could do. It's a very unique, site. And I'm going to basically go by what I understood the surveyor said, and Lucille, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this building might have been built on a 50-foot lot, and then a second lot was purchased to put the garage on it, which I understood that there may be a separate setback that was allowed under the 50-foot versus the 100-foot that they now have. It doesn't really matter because the building right now is built with an 8-foot setback, so it's an existing non-conforming. This setback will actually be greater than that. It's also got a hedgerow of trees in there, making it very,
Privacy.
a lot of privacy from the adjacent property owner. So it's really not going to be any more of an impact than what's already there. That's the basis of everything that's there and why they're doing everything. I can go through the 6 standards that you have here, that it is a unique characteristic of the property because there's an existing 8-foot setback. So that it kind of are, and the building is existing and they're trying to maintain that window. And it's nothing that resulted from the applicant. That building was already there when they purchased the property. It's a granting of this grass will not alter the general characteristics of the surrounding area. It's an existing building there. This will actually upgrade and improve the look of the existing building. It's also the relief necessary. They did this with the architect to do everything they could to try to maximize that setback in that location. And, there's nothing here that really, is nothing more that they could do. And it is an inconvenience. It's more than an inconvenience because they really want to maintain that window. I guess at that point, I'd open up to whatever questions you might have.
Could I just say one thing?
Of course.
When we design, we're not asking for the porch to go all the way to the end of the house. We're only asking for it to just go beyond the window, the support beam. And that's why we're asking for this. We're not asking for it to go out all the way to the end of the house.
So you're not going any closer to the street than your house.
No.
is. Your house is
No, but to the street, yes, but not to the side
No, but
yard.
we're within
I mean,
setback.
to the side yard, sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Actually, we're less than what the existing setback is. I mean,
In the
greater.
front, in the
Yeah,
front.
the existing setback's 8 and we're going to be 10.4. So we're actually we're further away than the existing.
Okay. Board members, you have questions for the applicant? And her son? No?
Just one, Mr. Chairman, Tom
sir.
Daniels. Have you started the construction on the second floor addition at all?
No, we haven't started anything.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, board members?
Bill Rosen here.
Yes, sir.
I went out there. The road in front of your house is terrible.
I know. Private road. I want my husband to pave it, actually. So,
I wasn't expecting it to be a private road, but it was.
yeah.
I saw the sign there. How close to the bay window is that support beam going to be?
Let me
Going to be
see.
inches or a foot or?
It's literally probably, I don't know exactly, but I'm guessing
Wait,
just a few feet.
yeah, it's not a few feet, it's
It's
a
not-
few
it's
inches.
a few
The
in-
inside part of that beam, if you look at the elevation, it's very close to just the inside of the beam is very close to the edge of the window. It looks like it's maybe the framing of the window, how you have a frame around the outside that 3 to 4 inches, a piece of wood that you would see come around the frame of the window.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she designed it for the minimum, she kept saying, we have to take the window out, we have to do that. I said, I can't do that. I feel the window's so beautiful and it's a big window. And she says, well, if I put the support beam to the outside, then you have to get a variance. And I said, well, I don't know what's entailed, but I'm going to give it a try. So here I am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Do you guys have anything to add? If not, I'll ask if there's anyone that has joined us since we started their
I
house.
do not.
Okay. Jessica, could you remind folks how they make themselves known?
Sure. So if you are calling in by phone, you're going to use the *9 to raise hand and *6 to mute and unmute. If you are on your computer, at the bottom of your screen, you will see a little raise hand function. And at that point, you can raise your hand and you will be acknowledged to speak. So there is one person in attendance. And he has not raised his hand. Would you like me to read into record the materials at this point?
Sure. Yes, please.
So the application package consisted of the application, which was signed and dated January 12th, 2021, the owner authorization form, which was signed and notarized January 12th, 2021, a 200-foot radius map and a butters list, the proposed and existing elevations and floor plans, which was 7 pages, a site plan prepared by Jackson Surveying, Inc., Donald W. Jackson, PLS, and then the legal notice, proof of certified mailings, and notarized affidavit of mailing.
Thank you, Jessica. Has anyone else joined or made themselves known? Okay. So unless you guys have anything to add, board members, any final thoughts, or someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion if there's no objection.
Go ahead.
Okay, I want to move the petition of Lucille, where is it? Move the petition of Richard and Lucille Beal of 141 Alder Road, South Kingstown, Rhode Island, 02879 for a dimensional variance under the zoning ordinances, as read by the chairman of the committee. The documents were entered into or read into the record by Jessica Spencer, our associate. And let me get my notes here. Speaking for the petition was Lucille Beal, sorry. And Steve, I didn't get his last name.
Gleason, Cleason.
Gleason. Steve Gleason, in support of the position. The following, and as I said, the material was entered into already. I want to make a motion to approve the petition of Lucille and Richard Beal. And the findings, facts are the following. The board finds that the hardship from which the applicant seeks relief is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land or structure and not to the general characteristics of the surrounding area. And it is not due to the physical or economic disability of the applicant, excepting for physical disabilities addressed in 4524-30-116. The reason for this is because they want to put in a portico and they want to build a second story to their house. The portico was originally thought to go in front of the bay window, and they want to save the bay window. So they're moving the portico over, and that brings it into the nonconformity associated with the being 10.4 feet from the right side back. Actually, the house was built so that there's an 8-foot side back already there. So this is going to increase it a little bit. The board finds that the hardship is not the result of any prior action of the applicant and does not result primarily from the desire of the applicant to realize greater financial gain. And this is due to the fact that actually the building was built in 1970. The right side yard back was 8 feet. And so it was, although the ordinances were not in effect in 1970, when they came into effect, this became a non-conforming situation. The board finds that the granting of the requested variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of the zoning ordinance or the comprehensive plan upon which the ordinance is based. They're simply adding some beauty to the structure. They're building more room for them to live in it. They're going to reside in that as their retirement home, I believe, and it will actually add to the character of the surrounding area, particularly if they get the street fixed. The board finds that the relief to be granted is the least relief necessary, because if they had that support beam in front of the bay window, they'd lose some of the pressure that they have with the house as it is presently constituted, and certainly would become a problem when they add the second story. The board finds that the hardship suffered by the owner of the subject property, if the dimensional variance is not granted, amounts to more than a mere inconvenience. Again, because they're going to lose some of the value that they place in the house themselves. So I move approval of the petition.
Thank you, Mr. Rosen. Is there a second?
Second, Mark.
Second by Mr. Mark. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Rosen,
Aye.
Mr. Mark,
Aye.
Mr. Daniels,
Aye.
Mr. Charkowik,
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta, aye. Motion passes. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Okay. And before I go on, I just want to make a correction for my initial statements. I called Jamie Gorman the interim building official. But he is in fact our building and zoning building official officially. So no longer an interim. So congratulations. And thank you.
Congratulations, Jamie.
Okay, so next we have the petition of Jerry C. Babcock of PO Box 641 in Charlestown, Rhode Island, 02813. For a special use permit under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to construct a detached one-bedroom accessory apartment consisting of 750 square feet with an additional second floor storage. A special use permit is required for accessory apartments located in the R200 zoning district, not serviced by a public sewer system. The lot size is 1.89 acres. A special use permit is required per zoning ordinance section 503.2 C for accessory apartments and 907 standards of relief. The owner of the property is Jerry C. Babcock for premises located at 1217 Matunic Schoolhouse Road, South Kingstown, Rhode Island, assessors map 84-3, lot 39, and is zoned R200. And for this petition, we have the application, which is signed and dated January 12th, 2021. The owner authorization form signed and notarized January 14th, 2021. 200-foot radius map and a butters list. Preliminary review plan set prepared by R. Barry Goaway, the architect, dated November 24th, 2020, and revised January 4th, 2021. And January 12th, 2021, drawing 1-4, a site plan prepared by the same architect dated November 24th, 2020, and revised January 4th and January 12th, 2021, drawing 5. And then there's a legal notice, proof of certified mailings, and a notarized affidavit of mailing. And before, I just wanted to clarify, Amy, with this, because it's a unique, they're only asking for the 750 square feet, which is normally okay. So explain to us why they're here.
Thanks. This is Amy, legal counsel, and you read my mind, Rob. So 503.2 sets forth requirements for accessory apartments. And 503.2C provides that an accessory apartment which is not serviced by a public sewer system may be established in R200 zones by special use permit only. And the stated intent of the ordinance is to provide increased protection to the underground aquifers that are the source of the community's drinking water. You're specifically required to consider not only the standards found in 907, the regular standards for a special use permit, but the board is also required to consider the location of the ISDS that services the accessory apartment in relation to the nearest freshwater wetlands. And that section also sets forth standard conditions that will be in the decision whether or not the if this is approved, we'll make sure they're in the decision. And those conditions are 1 through 4. Any existing ISDS that's going to service the accessory apartment shall be upgraded to meet current DEM regs. The ISDS shall be pumped every 2 years with proof of pumping to be submitted to the building official. The accessory apartment shall be equipped with low water consumption plumbing fixtures, and no garbage disposal or washing machine shall be installed in the accessory apartment. So for the board, consider 907, but also specifically consider, and again, if it's going to be approved, the member should note in their motion that the board has specifically considered where the ISDS is in relation to the nearest wetlands.
And those other considerations in terms of no washer machine or anything like that, that's just going to be expected regardless. So we don't necessarily have
Yes.
to in that.
Yes, those are standard conditions.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So who is here tonight for this petition?
I'm here, Jerry Babcock. Jerry, Jerry, Babcock, Babcock.
And you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. And do you have someone else here with you?
My architect is standing by.
Okay.
I don't know if he wants to come on now or if you need him. And oh, there he is.
I'm on. Yep. I
There he
swear
is.
to tell the truth, so help me God.
Excellent. And what is your name, sir?
Barry Goey, Goewey. And you came close with pronouncing it correctly.
That's shocking, but thank you. I'm
That
glad.
was very good.
Well, great. Thank you. So, Mr. Babcock, tell us what it is you'd like to do.
Well, I'd like to build this little apartment down on the southern end of my property for my son and who's getting married in the summertime in June so they can live close to me and my daughter-in-law and my son. That's the purpose. That's why I would like to have this permit, special use permit.
And you heard our special counsel talk about some of the conditions.
Yes.
Is that something you can address, or is that?
Yes, we have a septic engineer designing, the new systems that we're all going to be required to have. I might have my system in my house that I live in now upgraded to service my house, and if this house is approved, that house also to be able to take all the one bedroom in the little house and the 3 bedrooms in my current house. That's being designed as we speak. It's not completed yet. Really waiting for the approval by the board for the special use before I start spending money on all that stuff.
And
You know
are
what
there identified wetlands on your property?
No, none at all.
So this site doesn't have its own septic yet.
Not yet, no. It's in the design stage. I have a guy that's an engineer that's designing it now. John Timpson.
Timpson, okay.
Mhm.
Ms. Goins, do we need to have that plan or identify wetlands before our approval, or can we approve this without that?
I think if you have someone who can testify to the location of the wetlands, can testify that they've been verified and flagged, I think there just needs to be testimony of where the wetlands are.
Okay. So we would have to know either from Mr. Goey or Mr. Babcock if they know where they are, because they're not on the plans.
No.
So,
Well, the nearest wetland that I know of is a quarter mile down the hill on Schoolhouse Road. When you get down toward the Green Hill area, it gets kind of swampy, but that's, I'm quite a bit higher than that.
well, it sounds like that we do need to have then verification that it doesn't exist on your land, from what I understand, right?
Could I?
Make a point, and a question at the same time.
Yeah,
It's like on the WebGIS for that lot, under the wetlands, it's not showing any wetlands on that lot at all. The closest one is down at 1265. But my question would be, under 5032C, can two structures share the same ISDS system? If one is is not allowed to have a washer or a disposal where the other one might, the primary residence?
Yeah, so this is Amy. 503.2C only restricts washers and garbage disposals from being in the accessory apartment. The existing ISDS can serve both the primary residence and the accessory apartment as long as it gets DEM's blessing. And regarding the GIS, I would say those are, that's approximate. Typically, we would require, a wetlands professional. I think the board could potentially, if it deems the application appropriate for approval, you could approve it with the condition that the wetlands be verified and that a plan be submitted to the building official. I think you're just going to have to be satisfied, and it's your call whether or not the testimony from someone who I don't think may have expertise in wetlands is enough to satisfy you on that. And it may well be, depending on your own familiarity with the area.
Mr. Babcock, are you okay with, upon final request of the building permit, that you have verification, that you don't have wetlands, but if
Yeah.
your septic design and everything,
I
right?
don't have a problem with that at all.
Okay, and Mr. Goey, look,
Yes, I have a question. Is there a distance requirement to a wetlands if there is one? I mean, is it within a certain radius of the septic system proposed, or this lot already has a septic system in this area here. As you see on the site plan, Jerry Babcock residence is some 380 foot off of Matunic Schoolhouse Road. It's in the back of the property. And there is already a septic field there.
Mhm.
So there's no specific distance because this is an accessory apartment. There is a mandated distance, right, for construction of a new principal residence within so many feet of wetlands. And I don't know when that site plan at some point, I think for the construction of the existing residence, the wetlands would have had to be verified.
How
Or
far?
the lack of wetlands on the subject property. I would just say that might need to be updated. Conditions change, and I'm not sure how long the existing residents have been there.
1981.
Okay, so, I would say this, I think if DEM is gonna require, I would put it to DEM.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe the condition could be wetlands to be verified, a site plan indicating presence or non-presence of wetlands on the subject property should be submitted to the building official if required by DEM. So then, we wouldn't be asking the applicant to do anything that he's not required to do to comply with state regulations.
that makes sense to you, Mr. Babcock?
yes, it does. Yeah.
So the town of South Kingstown does not have a wetland map showing wetlands in the town. Most towns have designated areas.
Very damn limit.
Right, and some towns do have overlay districts and this and that, but there is no town map showing
Okay,
a level of detail for each and every property. We don't have a general wetlands overlay district. We have other overlays, but not for wetlands. And in any case, if someone's looking to construct a new principal residence within so many feet of wetlands, you'd need a site plan and a wetlands professional for approval of a special use permit. This is different, again, because it's just an accessory apartment, but the zoning ordinance does require the board to specifically consider the location of wetlands.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so, so that being said, does any other board members have questions based on what's been said so far?
Just a
Yeah.
related question. What is the, Tom Daniel speaking, what is the potable water situation? Is it a well or you have town water or what?
We have town water.
Okay,
Most of the houses around have town water.
okay. Thank you.
I have a question. This is Bill Rosen. On this site map that I got, it shows that the proposed septic area will be to the north of the house that's going to be constructed. But underneath it says the house location may vary due to ledge rock. Have
Well,
you,
it's a very stony area. I don't, when we start to dig around, I'm not sure what we're gonna find under there. But, when I built this house that I'm in now, I had to move the whole hole over 10 feet because of a huge rock that was just way too big to move. So that's probably what that would mean. That's what that means, I would believe.
okay, but on this site map, you're showing that the proposed septic system is going to be in this area. Was that decided by the number of feet from the house?
Well, that's just an estimation. That isn't set in stone. It depends on the engineer, what he recommends.
Okay. So who drew this map, I guess?
I did.
Barry.
Yes, I did. And this map is based on a survey done by Donald Jackson
Uh-huh.
and in 1981. And I was able to establish the meets and bound lines and the location of Jerry Babcock's house on the lot. And then from that, I was able to do a site location plan of the proposed dwelling, which would be 75 feet off of Matunic Schoolhouse Road. And approximately 93 feet from the west property line. And the grade slightly rises to the west. So that's why I had indicated a proposed septic area at that point on the map. Now, this is all going to be verified certainly by the septic engineer and its location.
Okay. So this map was drawn in 1981, actually, when the house was built.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board members have questions so far? If not, we can continue, Mr. Babcock. Unless there's anything else, or unless there's nothing else, rather.
Nothing else.
Okay.
Well, we were hoping to get an approval of a special use permit under the condition of a septic, an approved DEM septic plan.
Yeah, yes. And it'll have to be under that condition.
Right.
That you'll have to provide the DEM approval and any requirements they have. So if they're asking you to identify wetlands, then we would need to see that as well. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So Jessica, you want to remind folks how to make themselves known, see if there's any questions?
I have one more question.
Oh, sure, go ahead, sir.
Because it seems wide open. I mean, how far, if you have to hire a wetland specialist, how far does he go? Does he go to Kingdom, how far does he have to?
Just your property.
Oh, just this property. Oh, okay.
Just your property.
Oh, okay.
And if they can even verify without getting out of their chair,
Right,
then that's fine.
right.
But we need to have someone who, there needs to be someone of authority that.
I
not
see.
authority, But someone with
Okay.
credentials.
We understand.
Jessica, you want to remind folks how to make themselves known?
Or so there's one person in attendance. If you wish to speak on your computer, use the raise hand function. No one is calling in, but in the event, *9 to raise hand and *6 to mute and unmute. No one has raised their hand.
Okay, so hearing that, board members, any final questions or thoughts on this petition? Or want to make a motion? If you so dare.
Sure, I'll give it a shot. Okay, let me get my notes here. So just before I start, Amy, the conditions are going to be the 4 conditions under 5032C
Correct.
and the DEM approval for the wetlands approved, like verified by an expert on the site plan.
Correct. And as we've discussed before, this will be a conditional approval under 908, so it will be valid for 2 years.
Conditional, okay, under 908 for 2 years. Okay. All right. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the petition of Jerry Babcock as read into the record by the chairman. We had the following individuals speak, which was Mr. Jerry Babcock and Barry Goey, the architect, Goey. We had no one else speaking in support or opposition. We had the materials entered into the record were the application, a rough site plan, I would say, from 1981, and elevations of the proposed structure. The board finds that the special use is specifically authorized by this ordinance because under 5032, an accessory structure is permitted in an R200 zone that the applicant is seeking to put the structure. The board finds that the special use meets all of the criteria set forth in the subsection of this ordinance, or will need to be met by or verified by an expert as regards to the nearest wet plan and marked on an updated site plan that would kind of go to the building official to be completed after a DEM verification. The board finds that the granting of this special use permit will not alter the general characteristics of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of this ordinance or the comprehensive plan of the town, because Mr. Babcock is looking to put up an accessory structure for his son, who's getting married and having close by. It's a great thing. And we had no one speaking in opposition to this proposed application. The board finds that the granting of the special use permit will not alter the general characteristics of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of this ordinance or the comprehensive plan of the town. Unless I just said that, I hope I didn't. Because the area, it being an R200, there's, having driven by there and seen it numerous times, there's a lot of space in that area, especially on his lot, that can easily handle a structure of that size without getting in the way of anyone else's setbacks or anything of that nature. The added benefit that it is on town water, and Mr. Babcock seems to be willing to upgrade his existing septic system at the same time. So the approval of this is subject to the following conditions under 503(2)C, which are 4 points regarding to the existing ISDS that services the accessory apartment shall be upgraded to meet the current Department of Environmental Management regulations. The ISDS shall be pumped every 2 years with proof of pumping to be submitted to the building official. The accessory apartment shall be equipped with low water consumption plumbing fixtures, and no garbage disposal or washing machine shall be installed in the accessory apartment. And again, as mentioned before, this will all fall under DEM approval and be verified by an expert on the nearest wetland. And the condition of 908, the conditional approval would last for 2 years. So with that, I move to approve. I hope I covered it all.
Hey, Mr. Mark made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rosen. Any other discussion? Mr. Mark,
Aye.
Mr. Rosen,
Aye.
Mr. Daniels,
Aye.
Mr. Charkowik,
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta, aye. Motion passes. Good luck, Mr. Babcock.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, Mr. Goey.
Thank you.
Okay. Finally, on the last is the petition of the Contemporary Theater, care of Terrence G. Simpson of 321 Main Street, Wakefield, Rhode Island, 02879, for a special use permit under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to amend the existing special use permit. The request is to construct a 2-story addition with incorporated deck to the theater rehearsal studio. The applicant is also requesting liquor service to be expanded into the proposed addition. The previous special use permits were granted on June 21st, 2017 and February 21st, 2012. Lot size is 0.37 acres. Special use permit is required per the zoning ordinance section 301, which is our schedule of use regulations, section 907, our standards of relief. The owner of the property is Contemporary Theater Company for premises located at 321 Main Street, South Kingstown, Rhode Island. Assessors map 57-4, lot 211, and is zoned commercial downtown. And for this petition, we have the application with the narrative, which is signed and dated January 13th, 2021. The owner authorization form signed and notarized January 13th, 2021. 200-foot radius map and a butters list. Liquor sales location plan, which is dated January 21st, 2021, which is C1. Existing conditions, which is A1.1 and A1.2. Progress plan 9/28/20, which is A2.1 and A3.3. Supplemental material is the Rhode Island DEM insignificant alteration permit correspondence, which is dated July 28th, 2020, which is 3 pages. Photos, which are 3 exterior pages. And then the legal notice, proof of certified mailings, and notarized affidavit of mailing. So who is here tonight for this application?
There are 2 of us here. This is Terry Simpson. I am the president of the board, and we have Christopher Simpson, who is the executive director of the company. And at one point or another, I expect that we will both speak.
Excellent. So Terry, could you please spell your name?
It's actually Terrence, Terrence G. Simpson, Simpson.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. Thank you, Terry. And how about you, Christopher? Please spell your name.
Yep, Christopher Simpson, CHRISTOPHER, J Simpson, Simpson.
And you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. So go ahead, tell us what you guys would like to do.
All right, first, let me just say thank you for what you do. I appreciate last week that you had a long meeting and didn't realize until very late that we weren't going to get hurt. So thank you for not making us sit through to the end.
Yeah.
And thank you for all the time that you put in. So we're the Contemporary Theater. We're a nonprofit under Rhode Island law. We're recognized by the Internal Revenue Service as a 501c3 organization. And as you pointed out, we already have a special use, which we have expanded before for liquor service. We've been serving liquor there now, initially under Phil's license, but on our own. We've been there since 2012. We've been a good neighbor, and we've had absolutely zero in the way of complaints for what we do, including the liquor service. And so now we're trying to expand the area of our performance. I would remind you that we have a theater license, which limits our service of alcohol to performance time, 1 hour before, 1 hour after. And as I'm about to tell you, we have various areas in our property where we can perform, but generally we're only performing in one of those areas at any given time. We don't compete with ourselves by putting on 2 shows. So we're located on Main Street. We're behind Phil's Restaurant. We have the main theater building at 327, which has special use permit allowing us for the liquor service. A few years back, we built a patio on the back, and we obtained the special use permit to serve alcohol on the patio. We expanded that patio. And we have liquor service for the whole thing. We are now building a 2-story addition, which is adjacent to or part of our rehearsal space. It'll be a standalone, even though it'll be attached to the other building. That will provide us with an updated bar that will be inside the building, which will allow us to remove the outside bar. It will give us a meeting area on the 1st floor. It will give us a rehearsal space on the 2nd floor, and also a place for which patrons can stand and look at performances that are taking place out on the patio. We hope to be able to expand our liquor service into all of those areas. There are drawings. I don't know, there's a site plan that might help with the explanation. I don't know if you're able to put that up on the screen, or if we can just ask that.
Put it up there, please.
Okay, I'll bring it up for you. Just give me one moment.
Sure.
Just a extremely small clarification too. Terry mentioned that we were, I think he used the word adding to or expanding the performance area. What he meant was the rehearsal area. We're not increasing the net performance space. There's no additional capacity for shows or events, as he alluded to, but I think it was a misspeak where he said the wrong kind of space we were expanding.
So there's no expansion of occupancy or no request for additional parking spaces, anything like that?
Correct, exactly. No. In fact, the net viewing space will be slightly diminished, but the quality of that space will be improved. So capacity may even go down in practice, but certainly not up.
Okay, so certainly not a change within that. Great, thank you.
Right, so what you have here is the map. It's a lot to take in all at once, but you see the writing on the side. Part of it is blocked by all of our wonderful pictures there. But it says liquor location. And right along there, up and down, that is Main Street. And then you have 2 buildings on Main Street. Those are not us, that's Phil's. And then there's retail space with Phil's has a service balcony on the top. And then as you move back, you've got the like lying down obelisk sitting there. That is our main theater where that arrow is pointing. And that's our main stage, and we do have liquor service in that area. And as you move to the back, we have that big block, lots of circles in there. That is actually our outdoor patio, and we have a liquor service in that area. you see around that a bold line that is hyphenated, right? We already have special use for all of that area. So just go around, right? All of that is currently approved under the special use and our liquor license with the town. If you go to that, put the arrow on the hyphenated line, I'll move it a little bit to the right. And you see there the corner of the building that is outside of the currently authorized area for the liquor service. That's really the space, the footprint that we're adding would be to increase our special use permit for there, plus what we're doing is we're enclosing that space with a building. We'll show you drawings of the building in a minute, but the actual footprint that we're asking to be increased is only by that little corner there. Now, where that arrow is, if you just move it, you see a sort of a semicircle coming out of that's it. In that area, you can see there's a dotted line in front of that. That is where the balcony will be on the second floor. So that whole structure there, that kind of, I hate to use a gun analogy, but the thing that sort of looks like a sideways L, I guess. That's the area that we're asking that you approve for special use for the liquor service on the first floor and on the second floor. Up above that, where the arrow is right now, that is our current rehearsal space. And if you move the arrow to the left, that is residential space occupied currently by our executive director. So the addition that we're building, if we go maybe to the next drawing, yeah, there we have it. You see the yellow outlined space. This, I think, is this is the first floor of the building that we will be constructing. Chris, you want to give a little detail on what will go in there?
Yep, absolutely. So this component on the first floor, it says sort of lobby. It's intended to be a sheltered space for patrons who are coming to an event. There's a box office there where you can purchase your tickets from an enclosed space, because we struggle sometimes with potential for inclement weather, having our computer systems and stuff basically outside under a tent. So it's an enclosed space. People can buy a ticket. They can wait under a roof. And they can also go through those double doors out to the patio. And then additionally up the stairs, where you can see on the left side of that drawing up to the second floor. Underneath where the stairs will be, we'll see that in a moment. You also see there's a concession room there. That is the exact location and the approximate size of the current outdoor structure we have. We have essentially like a 2x4 framed tiki bar kind of space out there. It's just a very simple bar. This would be enclosed and therefore, protected from the elements more as well. But the service window would be identical to where it is now and how it operates. Then on the second floor, we would have...
Next drawing, please.
Thank you. Yep. So there's a landing from which you can head out to the balcony, as well as then a small additional set of stairs up to a space leading into that rehearsal room. The exact enclosure of those double doors there, that division may be changed slightly in the final building plans when we go for the building permit, but the idea would be an enclosed rehearsal space with a barrier so that the sound of the downstairs events doesn't impede the rehearsal. And that's the entirety of this proposed addition.
Right, and so the yellow outlined area for these, on these two drawings, is the area that we're asking for the special use to authorize the liquor service. Liquor service is authorized by special use in the downtown commercial zone where we are located. We have been serving liquor there for a number of years without incident and without complaint from any of the neighbors. Um, if we're using this space, then we're probably not using the other spaces. So, but we would like the ability to have the service in any one of the areas, assuming that there's going to be a performance that can be observed from these spaces. The zoning ordinance says that well, it requires that we not change the character of the surrounding area. We think we are the character of the surrounding area. We've been there, as I've said a number of times, for a good many years. People are used to seeing us there. Leaving our property and walking out to the street, we have Phil's, which serves alcohol. The next door to the west, you have Mary Murphy's, which is a restaurant that serves alcohol. Down the road, you have the Muse, which serves food and alcohol. Heading to the east, you have the Thai restaurant, you have the Tavern on Main, all of which serve alcohol and food at night. We like to think that we help each other. People come to our shows when we eat at these facilities. So we think we are consistent with the character of the neighborhood. We would note that in the comprehensive plan, the town wishes to encourage art facilities, art-related commercial activity. And so again, we think that we're consistent with that. We're already operating. People come and see us. They have a place to park. We have the municipal lot on either side of us. Plus we have some parking on site and we have street parking. We don't anticipate that that these additions will increase the parking in any way. We already have outdoor lighting on trees so that the performances on the patio can be viewed at night. We now put some of those lights on the building that we propose to construct. We don't think that it will change the light pollution, the glare in the area in any way. The lots are lighted, the buildings are lighted for nighttime activity all around us. I would note people can get to us not only by driving, but by walking. We have the bike path on one side, we have the pedestrian footbridge on the other side. We have sidewalks up and down Main Street and up the side roads. And none of that is going to be negatively impacted by anything that we are proposing to do here.
Okay.
We already have the utilities in the area. We're not going to be changing that, so I don't see the utility service is going to be any kind of a problem. And screening has not really been an issue. Most of the buildings around us are all commercially used right now. And we're hoping that this thing that we build will be pretty attractive and we won't have to hide it with vegetation. So it'll give us a better bar. It'll give us greater rehearsal space that we very much need. Besides performances, we also have classes. We don't serve alcohol at the classes. Those are not performances. So we hope that you will see this as a positive thing for the town and that you will vote to approve us. Chris, do you want to add anything?
No, you've covered everything. The only, I guess the note would be that to me, this is not really about the expansion of what we do, but rather the improving of the quality of the experience. The back row seats will go from being, on ground level behind many other people to being above and able to see a show with, I think, a better sense of the acoustics and a better experience. It will add to the charm of having a downtown theater to have this setup. And it also allows us to offer more of our off-peak hour operations, rehearsals and classes. That last summer during the pandemic, we offered as many summer camps as our space allowed, and had we maxed out capacity for every single one. Kids needed the in-person interaction, and we just didn't have the space to do more. This additional rehearsal room, especially if it can be completed by the summer, which will be our goal, assuming everything moves forward here, would allow us to educate, another 160 or so slots would be created by the addition to this space. So it gives us the chance to impact the community in the same way we already do, but with a higher quality, as opposed to really like adding seats or new events or anything like that.
We have a few pictures. I don't know if you want to put those up if anybody wants to look at them. If you haven't seen our space, Jess, is that possible?
There are two that were taken this winter and give you a sense of what we have already. And then there's a nice one that was taken in the fall that we should look at for longer.
All right, so what you're looking at there is the rehearsal space, and the bulk of that area, you can see the little shed sticking out, shed-like addition to the building with the colored drawings on it. That is our existing bar. That will be replaced. On the next drawing, a picture, sorry.
This was taken from the roof of the theater just to give you a sense of what it looks like from above. The space to the immediate right, there's a small tree and a little wooden structure. That's where the new building will go.
I would point out that our executive director has a very green thumb. You want to come and see this in the summertime. It is absolutely beautiful. One more picture.
Just to see a little bit more of what that are currently.
Okay, so that's where our addition will go. And I think that's it, unless Chris wants to say more.
Only if the panel, if the board has any questions.
I just have one question for Mr. Gorman. So Jamie, this is the special use is this is not dimensional, obviously, so they can put the building where they're asking to put it. Right.
Yeah, so they're under the 50% in lot coverage, as well as height limit is 40 feet. They're well under that, I believe. As well, setbacks are 0 for the side and rear, so they're good in that. But I know there was discussion as to the expansion of the alcohol service area, special use, but also the fact that the nonprofit theater operates under a special use, even though it's rehearsal space. I believe I included that in the notice just because it's kind of intertwined operationally.
Right, and if we're permitted, I mean, we might have a reading or something in there. And when we like the liquor service, people standing on the balcony might step back into the space. We don't want them to be, violating the service area, but.
Well, Jamie, in that, how is that space considered in terms of consumption? Is it just is the patio considered there? Like, how does that work with walking around with beverages on their patio?
I think if it's an approved service area, I mean, you don't actually have a line drawn on the ground if somebody crosses it, but I believe, it's easily confined to a building to say the service area can be in these locations, but enforcement wise, maybe a little tricky if, but if there's complaints, we could always, address them.
So we don't have to say that it's reserved to the building or reserved to a certain portion of the property, right?
This is Amy. I know everyone knows this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The council is the one that's officially going to be reviewing and approving the proposed expanded liquor service area, right? And it's before you because this is an expansion of a use that's permitted by special use permit, right? The existing use, the theater with alcohol, maybe it's legitimate theater, I may have missed a word, needs a special use permit because the use is expanding. The council is going to be the final one to look at the liquor service area expansion. I don't know the liquor service, the liquor rules and regs off the top of my head, although I am reviewing them now. I believe though, the area's gotta be demarcated somehow, right? So the council knows what it's approving and exactly, so that enforcement can occur. So just keep in mind, the council's going to be looking at this as well.
So it's more of, do we feel that serving liquor in this area is conforming with all of the ordinance and all the provisions of our zoning?
Exactly.
Rather than saying, where is it gonna happen? It's just that, is it okay for it to happen in this spot?
Well, you've got the site plan, so you know, and with the applicant's testimony, you know where the proposed expansion is to occur. So your task is to consider the effect of that expansion on the area and just see whether it can satisfy the special use permit standards.
So we can say that, within those dotted lines or something, do we even have to say that? If we were to make a motion that we're expanding liquor use?
I think the motion can reference the site plan and the identified area on the site plan where liquor service is proposed for expansion.
So expanded, because they have expanded future liquor sales location. But we're talking about just liquor service, like more than just sales. We're talking consumption as well, right? Okay.
If I may.
Yes,
I
please.
understand that you're discussing the procedure of what you need to do, but to clarify a little, hopefully, it is actually going to be easier with this expansion to clearly delineate and demarcate where the service and the consumption will be allowed. Currently, that line goes through the parking lot, but when the completion of this addition is done, more of the space will be specifically enclosed as a building, which is obviously very easy to delineate. And the remaining sections will only be the parts that are treated as patio and garden. And when you enter the parking lot, it will be much more clear than it is now when you sort of cross that threshold. And we always have both staff and volunteers on site to handle consumption and making sure people stay on the premises anyway, but it will be, I think, even clearer in practice now.
But we can almost say within this gray dashed line is the expected service area. Because that's inside of your parking and so forth, right? On the site plan?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I believe yes. And nodded, but obviously on Zoom, that's not a very effective.
And just make sure that when you go to the council, it's clearly delineated for them.
Right, I wouldn't so much use the dotted line. The bold dotted line that's the existing area. You can see part of the building extends outside of that existing area by a little bit.
Yeah, the darker, the heavier gray bold, not the slimmer dash, or no? We're
And
talking-
Terry,
oh, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Right, that heavy bold is what exists,
okay.
right? And the building is mostly within that, but a little bit of it is outside that.
Terry, you may even want to color code it for the council. I think that would be useful.
Yes, yeah, we will do that.
Okay, now, so
I
do you
just have
guys
a
have
question,
anything to
Chairman.
add? Oh, and
Yeah, so I just want to be clear. Are we talking about the highlighted line?
it's,
Sorry,
So now we're talking about the delineated area is the highlighted line?
We are looking at the one that is labeled Liquor Sales Plan C1.
Okay, I'm on the wrong one.
And on C1, it shows a dark hyphenated line that is our current service area, none of which is enclosed within a building, all of which is on our patio, parking lot, and garden. And I'm sorry, have you found it? I don't mean to be going.
Yeah, I have it on here. I'll just pull it up.
So basically what we're requesting is that you'll see that there's now where it's labeled expanded future liquor sales, lower level, balcony, second level. Those areas are essentially new uses of what is already within the dashed line. But then additionally, there's the corner of the building that leaves the current line that we also need to include a color coded, I can see now that a color coded drawing might have been helpful, or a before and after shot. But essentially we're adding, I don't have a measurement for you. I would guess it's about 100 and maybe 150 square feet of building that would be included. But I think Amy, just the legal counsel just said that the exact definition will be to the town council anyway.
Yeah, okay.
I hope that was clear.
Yeah, I got it now. Thank you.
And if you want to refer to any line, it's the bold, the yellow highlighted line, which outlines really the whole building. That's what's,
That's technically yeah.
Yeah, because that covers that area of the parking lot, right?
I guess we were also adding the balcony space and second floor 10 feet above the current service area as well.
Right.
I
Okay.
don't know how it works if someone were to take a glider or a hot air balloon over our space, if we're allowed to serve them or not.
Don't tempt me. So, okay, so you guys want to add anything else, or Jess, if nothing else? No? Is there anyone out there, Jess, that wants to speak in behalf of this petition?
There's one person in the audience. If you want to, excuse me, if you want to speak, you can raise your hand. That is on your computer. If you're calling in by phone, it's *9 to raise hand, *6 to mute and unmute. No one?
Okay, board members, any other questions for the applicants or thoughts? No. Okay. Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll do it.
Mr. Daniels.
Motion to approve the petition of the Contemporary Theater Company, 321 Main Street in Wakefield. The property is located at that address, and the specifics were, and the documentation was read into the record by the chairman. Mr. Terrence Simpson appeared for the applicant, along with Chris Simpson, and testified as to what they intend to ask for with regard to expansion of a liquor license. This property was a subject of a special use permit in the past that granted liquor license under section 301, Schedule of Use, which requires a special use permit for liquor in this particular locale. And also, of course, under section 907, standards of relief, and that's what this particular application is made under both those sections of the ordinance. There was no opposition to this request, and the materials that were entered into the record were identified by the chairman earlier. The key document being the January 21 site plan, which indicates that the requested additional liquor service would be expanded into the lower level rehearsal area, which is a planned expansion of the property. Also into the balcony area. And it also, the site plan also identifies the existing locations. It should be noted that in granting this petition, the zoning board understands that the final licensing and restrictions as to how the license will be issued will be up to the town council of South Kingstown. The board finds that the special use is specifically authorized because section 301 specifically authorizes liquor service in this locale by special use. The board finds that this use meets all the criteria set forth in a subsection, again, because it is specifically authorized by the ordinance, and nothing that the testimony or the applicants have proposed is outside of what is contained in that section of the ordinance. The board finds that the granting of a special use permit will not alter the general characteristic of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of this ordinance or the comprehensive community plan. We have testimony and we have local knowledge, of course, that this is an area that is occupied by restaurants on all sides, pretty much, and all have existing liquor licenses and are permitted the service of liquor. So the additional space being granted here will not alter in any way the intent or the general character of the surrounding area. There is no issues with ingress and egress. There is no additional traffic anticipated because of the granting of these additional liquor licensing. Off-street parking and loading areas are not needed to be addressed in this particular granting. And none of the other specific items that are normally required on a special use permit are needed. This is simply an expansion of an existing use in granting the liquor expansion. There are no conditions required other than, of course, as I mentioned before, the applicant will need the final approval from the town council. And with that, I move passage.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Charkowicz seconds. Any discussion? No. Mr. Daniels,
Aye.
Mr. Charkowicz,
Aye.
Mr. Mark,
Aye.
Mr. Rosen,
Hi.
Mr. Cagnetta, aye. Motion passes. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
All right. Jessica, I just have a question. It looks like I have some of the originals. Does that make a difference?
I don't know. I'm not in the office, so I don't know what was.
I think you have I made color copies.
Oh, I have the actual tape on the paper and everything. Masking tape. So,
All right, well, if that's the case, then you do have the original.
I wanted you to have that as a thank you for all that.
well,
You can frame it and put it up on your wall if you like.
I'll hang on to these. I won't recycle these yet.
Yeah, if you could drop them off, that'd be great.
Okay.
Or we can pick them up.
Yeah, either one. I'll get them back to you. I'm glad I asked because it would have been in my fire in about a half hour. So,
All right, good night. Thank you.
thank you. All right. So the only other thing we have, I believe, is the minutes from the January 20th meeting.
And the 27th, you should have both of them.
Oh, yes, and the 27th. Anybody would like to make any changes, or would someone like to make a motion to approve the two sets of minutes?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Daniels. Is there a second?
Second, Mark.
Second, Mr. Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Jessica, do we need a roll call for next month?
So I know next month, Bill is going to be present for just the first petition. I know Rick is going to be available. So I'm hoping everyone else is available.
Yes, and
What's the
someone
date?
did reach out to me today.
What's the date?
March 17th.
Okay, we're green, all right.
Someone reached out to me today who's on another commission that was asked to be part of the zoning. So it's and I've known Brad for a long time. He actually has written the reviews for the Contemporary Theater for the paper. So we'll see how that goes.
Application.
Yeah,
That's funny. I actually talked to somebody today who was interested in applying too.
perfect. 2 is better.
Yeah, the seat's still warm and I'm already out the door.
Can we mute him, please? Well, thank you, Mark, for sticking it out. Mr. Mark, thank you for sticking it out one more week,
Sure, no problem.
one more day, I should say.
But I shall see you all next month.
So anything else or motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Excellent. Nicely said. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night.
All
Good
right,
night.
guys, good night.
Okay.
Night, everyone.